Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Come on in. Sit on down, it's Monday. It's unusual. I normally do a show on a Sunday, but I just couldn't yesterday. I put the kids to bed, got in bed, fell asleep. That was my excuse. I have no other excuse but that, really. It was a rough day. It's been a rough week for the Stops family. We have been inundated with illness after illness. Fevers and just sinus infections, coughs, and all these horrible, nasty things over the past month. And just as one of us comes out of it, the next one falls into it. And I've done my round, and I'm kind of coming out of it now and feeling a bit better. My son, who had pneumonia in December, suddenly spiked a fever again, and we had naturally assumed the worst with the cough, like he must have pneumonia again. So we were in and out of doctors trying to get him checked, get his temperature checked, see what they think, and just to get the antibiotics just in case. And luckily we were given a prescription we never had to fulfill because he broke his own fever and got better. And then lo and behold, my 1-year-old gets a fever just yesterday, and we were going through the stresses of dealing with that as well and comforting them, and just young family life. And I just couldn't do a show last night. Just couldn't happen. Absolutely not. By the time my head hit the pillow, I was out. It was just one of those things, So I thought, I can take a day off. I'm self-employed. I'm a self-made man. I can take a day off if I want to take a day off. So I did. But like I said, it has been rough. It's been a bit all over the place, and my tether's been stretched to its ultimate ends in many ways. And I think I got an email from a friend yesterday of the channel who was like, Paul, I have the feeling something's going on in your life, and I just want you to know I'm praying for you, and I hope you all the best, and all things possible through God. And it was nice to have that reach out from that person, and for them to sense that something must have been off. I say soon because I didn't do a show yesterday, and they were right in a way. But I'm okay. I'm not like falling apart or anything. I'm just going through the ringer of life along with everybody else, I suppose. And which is why I want to really call this show today. I'm still here, and I don't mean it in like a "I'm still here, guys, don't worry" type of way. More like a no, I'm always gonna be here. Even when I'm not here, I'm still here. And by that, I don't mean that in some kind of like, I'll always be with you in the heart, in here. I don't mean something cheesy like that. I mean more in a sense of, even if I'm not making a video, even if I'm not here talking to you guys, or I'm not putting on a show, for as much as I am, I'm pretty genuine in what I do. But when I'm not like on like this, even in my day-to-day life, I'm never not one of you. I'm never not in the zone. I'm never not thinking about philosophy and religion and bigger ideas. I'm never not watching the signs and the symbols around me and the agendas at play and trying to think about where we are on the chessboard and what they're really up to. I'm never not in that place. I'm always here. Literally, my brain cannot switch off. That which has been seen cannot be unseen, no matter what we do. And, I talked about it in the older, a few videos back. I can't remember when, maybe even might be the last video, I'm not sure. But this idea that, I'm always going to be doing this whether I like it or not. There's no way to kind of get out of it. And I have those moments, just like the rest of us, where you think, wouldn't it be great just to not know for a day? Just to go back to living a guilt-free life like everybody else, where they do not consider the consequences of their actions, and they in no way, shape or form question the authority figures in their life and assume they all have the best in mind for them, and they go through their life just living that happy, blissful, naive ignorance that everything's hunky-dory all the time. Just send your kids off to school, you know what I mean, feed them the goy slop, whatever it is. It's get them all vaccinated up and do the rest of it and make sure. And you don't have to think about it, because they're just not thinking. They 100% in their own minds are like, I'm doing what's best for my children, and they have no broader concept of any malevolence surrounding them or agendas at play. And wouldn't it be great just to be that again? just to not. And it would be, wouldn't it? But we all know, even if I was just to pretend, I would be living a lie. I would be lying to myself, and it is a lie. And this is what I say, with much knowledge because much wisdom comes much sorrow. With much knowledge comes much sorrow. I think it's Proverbs. And I think even Ecclesiastes was hinting towards something like that as well. And it is true, the more you know, the harder it is. And intelligent people are very depressed people, generally speaking. And, no one has more fun like a stupid person, I guess is what we're trying to say here. Ignorance is bliss, I don't know how many more adages I can throw at you before we get the point, but you get the points. But regardless of how much the world seems to be falling apart right now, and how for a lot of people, who might be stuck in a bit of a doom loop, I want you to know, I'm still here, and I'm still optimistic, and I'm still going to turn up and do this when I can do this. So, I have a schedule. Sundays I do my Truth or Therapy sessions. Wednesdays I do a live Q&A, and I throw a video out on a Tuesday and a Friday if I can. But, I'm not one of those set in stone types of people who want to placate anybody, especially not an algorithm. And if things change, things change. And if I have to do a live show on a Monday instead and mix it up a little bit, I'm going to do that if it means I can put my family first, and my own health first, and my own sanity first. If I need to take a week off just to touch some grass, I'm going to take a week off and go camping or something, which my wife seems to be on right now. She wants to buy a tent box and go camping in England somewhere, out of nowhere, because I think we're all maybe feeling it like, well, I just want to get out there and get in some nature and just switch off for a little bit and get away from civilization as it is, if we can even afford to drive anywhere soon, because apparently we're having a emergency Cobra meeting in the UK, if you haven't heard, where the high-ranking cabinet members get together and plan ahead for the coming crisis, whatever that is. And apparently soaring energy costs and shortages of fuel and energy coming very soon, And you just know that you will own nothing and be happy agenda is running very smoothly when you hear these type of things from a I wish I could switch off point of view, But yeah, when the government's doing this, it's all orchestrated, and yeah, they're going to cause the shortages. There are no such thing as a shortage. It's all kind of orchestrated as it is. A good example I saw today, actually, just off the cuff, which kind of not made me laugh, but made me think, oh, well, that's a good point, is I was watching this video of this compilation of people from like TikTok and Instagram. So it was on YouTube. A guy had compiled all these videos, and they were all talking about the soaring price of food and how it's like people are going and buying one bag of groceries and it's costing them $150 or something stupid. And we have the same problem here in the UK. I did the shopping today with my son, and I got 3 decent sized shopping bags full, and it cost me £120, which is about $170 for you guys in America, if you were wondering, or something like this. And that's to feed a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 children. And that's a lot of money, just for the first shop of payday, where you kind of get all the extra stuff, to keep you going. And then the next few shops are going to be around £90, £80 each every week, just to keep the week going and to keep the house running. And that is a lot. That has soared quite high, even in a short time. I worked in a supermarket for 10 years. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a semi-professional on this. I managed an Aldi, don't you know? I understand how this operates. And I remember even just when I quit Aldi in 2023, 2022, the prices were not what they are now. Not anywhere near where they are now. They have more than doubled. More than doubled. And I can't help also feel a bit of that millennial shafting going on. It's of course, when I have a family and I start to get a leg up, that's when everything suddenly falls to shit and the prices double. Yeah, of course, that's when everything goes horribly wrong. Typical. But anyway, that's obviously, I'm not playing the victim. Everyone's affected by this. But one thing the person in the video was explaining is the price of beef in America, ground beef. And it's just an unprecedented price. Even in the UK now, 750 grams of 5% beef, 5% fat beef, was a £10. That's I don't know what, $13, $15 for you in America, something like this. And that's criminal. When I was working at Aldi, that was selling for about £4.50. Okay. That is criminal. Absolutely criminal in terms of price going up. And the guy said, and in America it was even worse. You guys pay $30 or something for the same amount. It's something stupid. And the guy said, yeah, but if you go to Mexico, I bet it still costs 80 pesos for 3 tacos. The price isn't going up anywhere else. It's just in America or in the Western world or the UK, which has to tell you something. That point was quite funny. Yeah, something else is going on here. They're up to something. These aren't natural shortages due to cows running out or something, or changes in farming practices necessarily, though I don't doubt that actually has a huge role to play in the UK with the takeover of a lot of farmland by the government, the shutting down of a lot of farmland, the buying up of farmland, which has been going on for a while. And to what end goal? A lot of people in these videos are what's going on? Why is this happening? I don't understand. What are they up to? And they couldn't really consider a wider agenda in these videos. And even the guy making the video, he said, well, it's probably the whole eat the bugs and you'll have nothing and be happy thing in that play, because it is orchestrated in its own sense. When I heard about these coming shortages of energy and everything else, now we have this convenient war in Iran to fall back on as an excuse for doing this. It's you were just looking for an excuse. You were going to make an excuse to do this at some point. It's bullshit. It is. We know it's bullshit on the surface. We know this has nothing to do with the war in Ukraine or whatever's going on in the Strait of Hormuz or whatever it is. None of that has anything to do with anything. This was well planned in advance, and Iran is just the excuse to do what they're going to do, because they want to create 15-minute cities. They want to get rid of petrol cars, get everybody in electric cars. They want to get everybody rolled out with digital ID and vaccinated up the wazoo. This is what they're aiming for, and this is just that one step in motion to get towards that, isn't it? One more thing after the other. So in many ways, I just watch all this, and it's like watching Rome burn. All I can do is sit down and play my guitar and laugh, in a sense, even though I'm not responsible for this. What can I really do to save this? I don't know. I do get a bit of apathy going sometimes, but I'm still here. I'm still here to talk about these emotions with you guys, to talk about how I'm feeling, because I feel like a lot of you are probably feeling the same anyway. This is what I do. This is why I do what I do. While it's all burning down, I want to look around and say, you all feeling this, guys? How are you feeling about this? Talk to me. You doing all right? You doing all right? Speaking of which, let's check the chat and see if people are doing all right and what's going on. So we got The Real McCoy, thanks for being here. We got Bill Jane. Listen, Paul, you're an OG. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm an old gangster. I've been doing this too long. You're right. Coming soon to a chat near you is Wendy, and no doubt she will be. R.I.P. Joe Rogan. Is Joe Rogan dead? What's going on? Is that true? I doubt that's true. I'm not sure what's going on there. Someone want to just confirm and or deny that fact? Listen to your body, says KK Westbury. Yeah, I do. I don't push myself too far or anything like that. It's a meme. Lol, hello. Okay, he's not really gone. Okay. Loving and praying for your family, brother, says Joyful. Well, thank you. I appreciate any help I can get, guys. Anything at all. I had a shower earlier, and for some reason, I broke out in these random we'll call it a constellation of spots, because you could probably make that into a pyramid if you connect them in some way. I don't know why this happened, but I think it's just because of the illness, the sickness, things coming out of my skin as I'm sweating them out and the rest of it. So I don't know. So yeah, I'll take any help I can get. Great content ties a lot of this together. I'm not sure what that's about, but okay. I've in a medical mess at the moment. It's confounding, says Behold the Sky. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I know it's horrible when health issues arise and you have to go through the system. I empathize with you greatly. I'll pray everything's not too severe. What up, Paul, my boy from Nebraska, and R.I.P. Chuck Norris. He taught how kick it for better health, and I recommend honey and lemon, bro. Oh, Sean, I'm doing the whole herbal tea thing, and I'm just drinking nothing but fluids, and I'm fasting intermittently as well, and the rest of it. I'm doing everything I can to get myself back in gear. To be honest, I reckon this winter, I think I may have put on a few pounds. I let gluttony get the better of me. I'll say that. A lot of stress eating of chocolate, just because having two kids drives you up the wall sometimes, and you just need an outlet of some kind. And not enough fasting, I would say, has definitely put on a few pounds this winter. And I think that's come with some health issues, which I'm trying to get back on top of and reverse now, and stop from causing too many more health issues in the future. The other problem is as well, I should have seen this coming, but obviously when I used to manage an Aldi, I was on my feet for like 10, 12 hours a day, non-stop, lifting and walking, and just lifting and walking and lifting and walking and pulling and lifting, just non-stop, racking up like 25,000 to 30,000 steps a day on the old watch, and the rest of it, 6 days a week, 5 days a week. So now I sit my ass and talk to you guys 2 days a week. It's completely different. It's completely different, so my body is definitely starting to feel that. And I think my health felt it too. I think my fitness has gone down dramatically, and I need to get back to the gym and force the fitness. And then in the winter, I usually go for a walk every night with the family, quite a long one. And because winter comes around in the UK, you're just kind of locked in your house. That hasn't happened either. So that has not helped my health in any way either. But spring's here, and it's time to sort it out, and the fast is back on. I wouldn't be a young parent again for millions of dollars, says Joyful One. Yeah, it's the best of times and the worst of times, as they say, isn't it? Finally caught under the live with Paul. Yes, hey everyone. Well, good. Thanks for being here, Bruce. I love the enthusiasm. Snarky much, choke. You're the best always. I can get snarky. Don't get me wrong. I can be a little bitch sometimes, like towards people. I know. I can be snappy and snippy if I want to be. When you answer the call, finally right, missing the bliss, not gonna lie. Yeah, so you get it. We're all enduring to the end, absolutely. Real McCoy. We got Orderly Phoenix here as well, good to see you. I don't know anyone who hasn't been having the worst month ever. In it together, ignorance is truly bliss. Heavy is the heart that carries the spiritual crown, says Sam. Yeah, I think everyone has been absolutely going through it. This winter's just been horrible. This has just been a horrible time of year. As soon as October rolled around for my family, that's when everything just went massively downhill. It was really bad, a really bad winter, and I'm glad to be coming out of it now. And it seems like there is a pattern here. I always come out of winter with this illness, this sickness. Maybe it's the bad stuff coming out of us that it kind of got into us during that dark season. I don't know. But hopefully we're coming out into brighter days, into a war. That'd be wonderful, right? What's going on? What's this channel about, says Lewis. Well, it's about a lot of things, Lewis, really. It's about understanding conspiracy, first and foremost. That's obviously, it's about talking about the people in the conspiracy culture. It's a community of conspiracy thinkers, minded people, questioners of authority, questions of narratives, people who love philosophy or to think outside of the box. Or I run a podcast called the Truth of Therapy Sessions. I'm wearing the merch right now, where I kind of help people who have gone through the motions of waking up kind of deal with it, really, because you lose a lot of friends and family in the process. If not literally, you definitely lose their respect, and that can come with consequences, long-lasting consequences, and it can become a lonely, horrible, isolating experience for a lot of people. And I hope for this channel was to end that and give them a place to come where we can stop feeling like that, and also understand you're not alone, you're not crazy, you've just discovered some stuff some people aren't quite ready for yet, and it's hard to cope with. So let me help you cope and deal with it a bit better. I have a Tips for Truthers series to help people handle the information, share the information better, to take it easy on themselves as well, and to rationalize a bit more calmly. And it's a bit of this and a bit of that. But then in between, I talk about eschatology, I talk about the end time stuff, I talk about symbolism, the occult. I'm also known for a book called The Nephilim Look Like Clowns, which talks about the Nephilim, biblical history, and I tie it to modern themes as well, and talk about ancestor spirit worship and the costumes involved, and spirit veneration and possession. I talk a lot about spiritual warfare. This is fundamentally a Christian truther channel, and I try to spread the gospel as much as I can. So I think that's the elevator pitch for what this is. It's about a lot of things, but welcome. God bless you, man. I love your videos. Your recent ones I've shown to a friend and a family member. I like them so much. Jesus Christ is King, brother, says Fatal Tyler. Oh wait, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's just that's another ethos of the channel. I set out to make videos people could confidently share with their loved ones, friends, and family without worrying that people are going to think they're crazy as a result. Because there's too much of that shit in the conspiracy culture that ruins it for everybody. And I'm looking to make us presentable and not to turn people away. That's the aim. And I aim to lead by example by doing this as well. And a lot of people hate me for it and just want me to shut up. Some people appreciate it and like it. And that's just the nature of Paul. Either you love me or you think I'm Satan incarnate. Take your choice. It's nothing new, you know. This feels worthwhile to share, at least for gratitude. I've been working through my scoliosis by learning spiritual truths, and learning about the Nephilim being clown entities helped me immensely, says Snowman Overlord. Well, I'm glad my work has in some way helped you with that. I understand scoliosis is a pretty brutal, horrible situation to be in, and you know, I pray that the pain is manageable. But I'm glad my work has brought you some comfort in some way. It's good to hear. Excellent. I pray for us all. I cry for the world. We're approaching the end, and it's also a new beginning. Yes, it's a revelation, that's for sure. UK prices are worse than US. Oh, it's bad. Janvier 888. It's really bad right now. It's you know another thing that's like got me down over this past 3 months. And this is a purely woe is me situation. I know everybody else has their own shit going on, their own problems, their own horrors, their own financial crisis and issues. Okay, and I'm not trying to say I have it worse than other people, because in many ways I'm blessed in many ways, and I appreciate all the blessings that I've been given by God and everything I have by God. And, you know, easy come, easy go, what the Lord giveth, He could take away, and I understand that, and I don't try not to cling too much to earthly stuff, you know, and I try not to lust after earthly things or try to be covetous anyway. I'm happy having enough. But there was this thing that happened over the past few months. Now, me and my wife, we did try to get a house a few years ago, 3 years ago. And then interest rates were still very low. They were like 1%, which is unprecedented. Right now, it's that no such product exists, you know. And houses were still cheap. Relatively cheap. There was a stupid boom going on around COVID period, which is when we were just coming out of COVID. Is when we started to kind of get onto the ladder, or try to get onto the ladder as quickly as possible. We know we had a child, a baby, you know, newborn at the time. We're like, we need a place of our own, because where we're living right now was very small at the time. Where we lived at the time was very, very small. It was a 1-bedroom, one entrance, no garden. kind of flat terrace. It was a really odd designed thing with no drive, and it was a box. It was all right when it was just a couple, but when we have a child, it's just we outgrew it so fast. So we needed something bigger, and we found a very cheap 3-bed for like £130,000, which is very cheap for a 3-bed house, semi-detached in the UK. It was a good price, and we put everything into it. And we sunk down like thousands of pounds into solicitors' fees and surveys and things like this. And it turns out the house was a death trap, and the back wall was literally about to peel off the damn thing. And the roof was an extreme fire hazard with no stopper in between two houses. And there was problems with mold behind the walls and all sorts. It was like falling apart basically. And we were like, oh, to back out of this deal. We can't take this. We cannot take this house. It's just not safe. And it's too much work for us to take on. So we lost that. And then as soon as we lost that, we had this mortgage in principle, but then all the houses just started going massively out of price range. They started to skyrocket, just unbelievably expensive. And the unnatural inflation of the value of property just went haywire. And then interest rates suddenly went up. I can't remember what happened. Something happened in that time period, which caused all interest rates to just skyrocket. And next thing you know, you can only get a mortgage at like 4%, 5%. And houses, for some reason, were like, had 60 grand just slapped on top of them all at once. And we were like immediately priced out of the market, So we thought, okay, well, we'll give up on that. And then we went through some other means, and we managed to find through council housing, because my wife is just an absolute pro with like dealing with the system to like work out for the best, and knows our rights and the rest of it and utilizes it. And she managed, on the argument of us being overcrowded with our family, to get a bigger house through the government, and it worked. And we even wrote a letter to our local MP to help us, and it actually panned out quite well. And like I said, all glory to God and my wife for working this out, because now we have a decent enough sized house. It's a 2-bed with a small box room, which I have my office in right now. So my children are sharing a bed, my 2 sons, and they'll have to have a bunk bed and the rest of it. We have a decent enough sized bedroom, and then we have an open plan thing downstairs, and a bit of a garden and a driveway. So it's an improvement, but we know we're going to outgrow this house. We can't live here forever. It's like 700 square foot. It's not a lot, it's for a family of 4. We could make do, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be comfortable, and we're gonna have a lot of stuff and not enough space to store it and the rest of it, And ideally, I would like to have something else, and we thought this was a dream long gone because of what happened to the property market, but things have started to change. We noticed over this past few months, houses have kind of like dropped. They're sitting there and they're not selling. They're there for like months, 9 months in some cases, even up to a year, and they haven't moved. No one's buying them. And that's unusual, because when we were trying to buy a few years ago, they were snatched up under our feet like that. We just couldn't get them fast enough. We couldn't. People were just buying cash, and property were on the market for like a week. So you didn't have some people were literally foregoing getting them checked by a survey. Thank God we didn't, because we would have bought ourselves a money pit dead end that would have collapsed on us, but people were just foregoing it just to get the sale because they were going to miss out, and the joke's on them, because the fixed year mortgages that they got are up now, and they can't afford to pay the mortgage anymore on these properties they bought 5 years ago at very low interest rates, because now they can only remortgage at like 4%, 5%, when they originally had a 1%. So now they're paying like an extra £600, £700 a month that they just can't afford. And you realize now all these houses are going back on the market. They have to be sold because these people who bought them then can't afford them now. So I suppose in a way we kind of missed something there, maybe a trap, but now it's a buyer's market. We're looking at these houses sat there for ages, and we're thinking like they have to collapse soon. Like people are going to have to lower their prices, because right now they're so inflated beyond reason. It's unbelievable. Like the houses are not worth what they're being sold for. They have like £100,000 markup on them for no reason whatsoever. So I can only put it down to greed. That's what it's come down to. It was a false bubble, a boom that didn't exist and wasn't backed by reality, and now reality's kicking in. And now I've realized there's actually like thousands of mansions, like £500,000, £400,000 houses just sat there and no one's buying them because who the hell has 400, 500,000 pounds anymore? So these people have these homes they need to sell, but no one to buy them. And you're finding a lot of houses maybe around our range, which would be like maybe 200 to 300,000, which is ideal. Very steep, very expensive still. But these are houses that should be going for like 180, or would have been going for like 180, 170 when we were looking. But now they're like 250,000 pounds, 300,000 pounds. It's kind of the house that we were going to be able to get has just gone massively ahead of us again, just as this thing happened. It's kind of out of our grip, you know. But we thought, well, interest rates are actually coming back down over the past like few months. They're going from 4 down into the 3s soon. We're like, maybe if we wait a year, save, if we already have a deposit, you know, which we never got to use, and it's kind of, and maybe if we just wait a year and watch it and watch these houses, maybe they'll start dropping the prices very soon because they've got no choice, because people can only buy what they can afford, and people can't afford the prices that these houses are up for right now. And there's competition. There's not that many buyers and there's too many houses, so they have to fight for the prices, right? And then at the same time, interest rates are coming down. Maybe we have a window opening up here where we might be able to get a home that we can call our own and we can own, you know, and that's big enough that we can stay in forever and grow and live in. And we're getting this naive optimism growing. And then as soon as we started to think about how these conversations and look and maybe get a little bit excited about the prospect, war kicks off, interest rates start going back up again. And we suddenly just got priced out of the whole opportunity again. Once again, the millennial generation, the young millennials, have been shafted once more. And the thing that was almost just there about to grab has just been yanked away from us once again. It never ends. It never ends. And again, that's a woe is me, sad sap story that doesn't affect you in any way. But it's just another one of those little mosquito bites that add up in life that get you mad, you know? So, we gained nothing, lost nothing, other than just hope. We gained some hope and lost it. And it's just another one of those things. It's just, maybe we should just stay here for as long as we possibly can. And maybe if by miracle, an opportunity arises in the future where we just suddenly get, I don't know, £300,000 for some random reason, we'll buy a house. That's all we should really focus on, because we realized even if we do buy a house this time, okay, our mortgage repayments alone would be about £1,200 to £500, 1.2 to 1.5k a month. That's double what we're currently on. And when you buy a house, your mortgage is supposed to be cheaper than rent, right? That's how it used to be. It's not like that anymore. It's double. So what's the point? Like, I would be living and working to just live in the house that I never leave because I can't afford to do anything else. Is it even worth it? And from my family's perspective, and my wife is saying it, I think she's right. It's kind of, no, it's not. We might as well just stick here, pay the low rent, and have our extra money to actually live a life while we can and do what we want with our kids and have, a decent standard of living, relatively speaking, that we can enjoy existing a little bit at least. If we do get this mortgage now, it's slavery forever. It's a mort means death, right? It's a death contract, a mortgage. Like, it's simple as that. Like, it would I'd just be living a life of debt and misery, and we wouldn't be able to afford to have anything. And it's just another sign of just how terrible it is to exist in today's world. Everything's upside down, and you can't help but, again, remember that phrase, like, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. The agenda, the WF agenda, to basically just remove any concept of ownership away from people and remove the middle classes. And I'm living it. I'm living it, I'm earning more than I ever have, and I can afford less than I've ever been able to afford. Like, do you understand? It's just backwards. It's just backwards. And I think many people, there's a lot of blame going around, like it's the older generation's fault and the rest of it. And I think it's bankers' fault. I think it's the fault of corrupt bankers and governments and cartels and secret societies who have been doing this to us on purpose for a very long time, and will love us blaming each other and older generations and the rest of it. But I will say, I think some older generations, not all though, not all, obviously, maybe a little bit unaware of what's happening to the younger generations because they already got theirs. They got their property. It's paid off. And they can comfortably just retire into the sunset as best they can and, you know, just turn a blind eye to it, you know, in a sense. And I'm not saying that's their fault. I'm not saying they didn't earn that. And it's not their right to do that. But I think it comes with a bit of blindness to just how bad things have actually got for the younger generations. Gen X some of them may have just by the skin of their teeth clawed their way into some level of ownership and stability in that sense. But I think most older and younger millennials are fell through the cracks and were suffering, and Gen Z is just checked out. They've given up. I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea. And they know it. They don't even know what they're going to do. And I think that comes with that's why we see a rising apathy and despair and a bit of black pilling and the rest of it happening. And I get it. Like I'm right there with the rest of you, and it's rough. It's rough. Like I say, I count my blessings. At least I have a house and a roof, and you know, at least I've got that. Like that's more than most people these days. And it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs. What about you guys listening? Like, how are you doing? How are you finding the housing market? Any millennials in a similar situation to me? Let me know. You know, what am I on here? I've been talking for 36 minutes. I was going to take a quick break, get a drink of water because I can feel my throat giving in again. If you didn't know, I released an album recently. Here's a picture. There we go. Stupid Prizes available on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. I think it keeps getting uploaded more and more by the distributor to random places. It's been doing really well. If I share the screen here, I think I've got it. Some research for the book coming up there on the screen. I apologize. Where is it? Here we go. And I'm here as well. So if you look at this, it's done really well since being released on the 10th. It seems to be averaging around the 500 mark. That middle line there had a spike there on the 16th, which is great. But that's good. That's some daily listeners. I'm happy for that. It seems like people actually care about what I created, which I'm quite happy about. So thanks for all of those who already checked it out and give it a listen and have slapped it in your playlist and maybe let it run through every now and then. I really appreciate that. But I'm going to play one of the songs from it for you guys now, just while I take a quick break, and then I'll be back to carry on and maybe answer some questions as well. Get some questions in, guys. And I'll be here to answer them. And I'm also going to just scroll through what's been said to see if I've missed anything as well. So just bear with me. This one is called... Let's do... If I can pick one. Let's do Living Water. So here we go. My back is stabbed enough, oh, could I take a break? This world is draining me, a glass of living water, please. My eyes are aching now, oh, could you take this beam? The abyss stood back and left, I remember all your past. I sing to heaven, please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. I sing for peace, now don't look down on me. Can't a man dream? That's a lovely building, oh, is it built on feelings? When it falls, you can crawl, grab his hem and don't let go. I see on the telly, the gospel is the belly, forever feeling empty, the bread of life is always free. Well, I sing to heaven, oh, please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. Well, I sing for peace, now don't look down on me. Can't a man dream? Carry this for me. Ease my knees. Unburden me, please, you stabbed enough, or could I take a break? This world is draining me, a glass of living water, please. My eyes are aching now, oh, could you take this beam? The abyss stared back and laughed, I remember all your past. I sing to heaven, oh, please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. Well, I sing for peace now, don't look down on me. I need to sleep, can't I dream? And we are back. There we go. That's Living Water. That's the first song in a 5-song EP. We'll call it an EP because they were recorded in various settings through one microphone, all live recordings, no layering taking place or anything like that. So go and check that out if you haven't already. Stupid Prizes. It's on Spotify. I think the link might even be in the description. Who knows? But you can find it. You know what it looks like. There we go. You know, find this thing and give it a listen, guys, if you haven't already, and let me know what you think. I appreciate that. So yeah, looking through some of the comments there, it seems like it's pretty decent, pretty good. People having a good conversation, giving their 2 cents, which I appreciate. I got a $4.99 super chat there from Alex Beaton. He says, "You heard BlackRock halted withdrawals." Ooh, no, I haven't. I feel like we're due a huge crash. Tins of food time, maybe a good idea to sell stocks too. Interesting. I didn't know that they'd halted withdrawals. Yeah, something's going on. And they're definitely using this war as a catalyst, that's for sure. It's like it was all by design, says Hamvier, to prevent you from having a house to raise, expand family. See, it feels like it, doesn't it? It feels like it's all by design. And yes, it probably was. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Let's be real, guys. This is all probably a part of one giant plan, isn't it? And we are just the trickle-down victims of it. Perhaps don't tell people to chill when they're just greeting people. Just Google it. It's true wild stuff about BlackRock. Housing market crash here in America. People can't afford. I think it's happening everywhere in the Anglosphere, at least. I think there was a ridiculously unrealistic boom in property prices, which again, they say it's based on many multi-factors and blah, 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 supply and demand. I call bullshit. I call it greed. Greed is what did this, okay? And I think a lot of people who had their homes during that boom fell in love with the number of what they were told their house was worth and are not willing to let it go, even though it never existed to begin with. Okay, and now it's come to sell. It's like, well, I told my house is worth this much, so I want to sell it for this much and be damned if anybody offers me any less. And I think a lot of that's going on. I think there's a lot of greedy estate agents who want that tasty commission and cut of the whole thing as well, who are forcing it to be sold at those prices as well and aren't willing to budge on the price. And I think reality is coming to kick them in the balls very soon. It's like, no, screw you. I'm not paying that price. It's not worth that much. You can go and rot in that thing as your coffin for all I care. Then like, go. I'm not paying. I think that's the problem. They're all just sitting there, decaying away. You know, the ladder's broken. Is what we're trying to say. There's no up and down ladder anymore of property like it used to be, where you would size up with family growth and size down as family move away and you age. Now everybody just sized up, kicked the ladder out from under them and says, "I'm staying here, screw you." That was it. That's where we are now. I think covetousness is the sin that's at play here. I come to bless and pray for Paul, that's all, says SMG. Well, thanks SMG, I appreciate the prayers. And it looks like Wendy's not happy with you, so I don't know what you did, but stop it. There we go. More online gambling is what we need. Oh, that's the last thing we need. That's the last thing this world needs. People are chill. Everyone's chill. Everyone's saying they're the most chill. I've given up on home ownership, says the giant tree. Yeah. It seems like I have too. It's a pipe dream. It's not a reality for this world. It's a thing of the bygone times. You know, it's a concept that we'll read about in history books. Property ownership. You know, the yield curve just uninverted between 2-year and 10-year T-bill bond. Nerd talk for the smart money are betting huge on a crash. This has predicted many crashes and recessions. I can see a crash coming. I can see a huge crash coming, which is why I'm thinking I might just hold off a little bit before I bother buying a home. Because the property market's going to come down hard, very hard, and there's going to be a lot of supply and no demand, which means lower prices, but also incredibly high interest rates. So it kind of balances itself out. But I'd rather buy a house at a very low price and a high interest rate now when it crashes, and then let those interest rates drop in the future when I remortgage, so I can pay off a very cheap house very quick then, you know. But it's checks and balances. You got to find the right balance, you know. But there's a lot of people in younger generations, Gen Z especially, who just can't wait for it to crash. Let it burn is what they have to say. Which again plays into this is an orchestrated thing. This is destroying ownership for a lot of people, not just the young in many ways, so they can reset the system for that new world order, you know, and the cashless society, the digital ID, and the rest of it. So it's kind of it's a catch-22. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And those who are praying for a crash kind of don't really understand the consequences of what's going on either. And it's complicated. It's a complicated, horrible mess, isn't it? When you get into the financial sector of everything, it just becomes an absolute shit show of made-up nonsense, all based on faith and belief that things have value, is so-called so saith the masters who say so, whoever they are, you know, the market, whatever that means. But it's not, is it? It's people. It's people set these prices. Having humble pie with mash and baked beans, very British. What did I have today? I had honey sesame chicken and rice. I made my own honey sesame chicken. It was delicious. It's the fallen one versus us. That's it. That's simplified enough. Yep. This is just Satan's war against the people of God. That's right. Intentional aggravation and frustration by design, and the proper home will come along, says Jem Rusi. Hopefully you seem more optimistic than me. I'm not so sure about that. I'm really not. Affordability is just not there. It's just it's unfeasible to get a home. It's just it's a bad financial decision to buy a house now. End central banking. That's right. My wife's joined the chat. I'd rather go on holiday than buy a house. That's what I mean. Yeah, I think we're getting to that point now where we realize let's just enjoy life rather than indebting ourselves to property. You know. Home ownership is not all it's cracked up to be. No, exactly. I'm under no delusion about that. It just would have been nice when it was feasible to do that thing, you know, and have a bigger house where we could grow and live and, you know, treat it like a home rather than an investment like most people do today. That would have been nice, but yeah, it seems like it's not really possible now. The River is Rising, Can't Go Back No More, a song written by Will McFarlane almost 20 years ago. Okay, I'll check that out on your behest. The Lord has a cunning plan, better than Baldric. That's a Blackadder reference. Bloody hell, I'm going way back there, aren't we? There's way too much roof out there, says Biocharisma. Is that housing talk? Is that what that means? Good to see you, by the way. Good to see you. And it's nice having you in the background while cooking, says the Harmer. Well, I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people just listen to me while they're drifting off to sleep, or while they're doing the cooking, or the washing up, or they're driving their tractor. I've heard that one quite a lot. And you know, I'm what's the word? Honored? Is that the word? Or flattered that? Or should I be offended that I'm sending people off to sleep? I don't know, but I'm glad people like listening to me ramble on. I wouldn't have a life or income if you didn't enjoy listening to me ramble on, to be honest. So I'm thankful for it, absolutely. Lovely music, Paul, a man after my own, says Captain Alien. I'm glad you enjoy it. And like I said, go check out the Spotify. Paul, do you make music in 432 hertz? No, I use standard tuning on the guitar and I just click record and go. I tend not to think too much about that type of stuff. I think maybe I should, but no, it isn't. It isn't tuned or frequent or tuned down to 432 hertz. I think there are apps you can get that can do that for you or anything else, but it's not a step I have taken while doing my music to put it into 432. When anyone asks what would it take for my generation to get a house and start a family, my mind goes to places my heart can't follow. Certainly not for us, but maybe for those after. Yeah, it seems like I've heard theories that there's a coming golden age, probably a parody of the millennial reign of Christ that I believe has already happened in some murky lost history that's been buried and hidden from us. And I think in this little season, this time, I think they're going to play out a Return of Christ scenario, which will be false. It'll be a fiction. And then they're going to usher in a golden age, as they call it, a new age of love, light, and consciousness and the rest of it, and human progression and all these type of things, and technological advancement, and it'll be the phoenix that rises from the ashes of the destruction of the old world system, which we're witnessing now, the destruction of the old world system, and then there'll be this coming new world order, which will be love and light and wonderful and fantastic. And it'll be like a parody of a millennial reign of Christ. I think it will be Christian in nature, but like a inverted, militarized version of Christianity. So the Christians, the evangelicals, the Zionist types will believe that we are in the dispensational second coming of Christ. It be that they do a literal Jesus figure turns up, or it's a metaphorical reign of some kind due to the signs that have come and gone, and it'll be like an amillennialism type thing. I don't really know, but they'll probably play out a golden age where people will actually be given everything that we've always wanted on this earth. And maybe that's when everyone gets a house. Everyone gets a house they can raise 8 children in. Everyone gets a universal income that can pay for everything. Everyone gets so much stuff and it's all wonderful, and the borders all drop and everyone comes together as things come by our, and you know, they're all holding hands, and all the guns and all the nukes get thrown into a pile and into a pit, and they're gone forever, and it's all, you know, we're better than this now. I don't know what that's going to look like. There'll be a golden age where thing, and I think Connor said this, one of my moderators on his channel. I think he said it's likely people are going to be given a lot, so they have something they're not willing to lose, something worth fighting to protect, something worth fighting to preserve. Okay. And it's hard to get everyone to come together to fight if you haven't given them anything worth fighting to defend. Okay. Well, you see in the UK right now, nobody wants to join the UK army or go to war in Iran to fight Israel's war. Like, nobody wants to do that. And everyone's saying, I'm not going to go fight in this war. Put me in prison, I don't care. I'm not joining. I'm not fighting. Come script me all you want. We're not going. Put us in prison. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not fighting this war. Because why? Why should I? Why should I fight to defend this country that has forgotten about me and put me as a second-class citizen, has taken everything away from me and given me nothing worth fighting for? Why should I? You know, that's the sentiment everywhere, even in most Western countries now. Our governments are corrupt and we're not willing to fight for them or defend the nations that we currently have because they are not serving us. They're serving foreigners, basically. That's what it actually comes down to. And foreign interests like wars in the Middle East and the rest of it. So I think this whole system we're seeing now will come to an explosive end. And then from the horrors we've just witnessed because of the Abrahamic face and possibly aliens turning up at the 11th hour to save us all or something, which will claim to be Jesus or something, New Age Jesus will turn up. I don't know. Again, I'm riffing on that bit, but something will happen, which will then justify the coming of this new age of enlightenment. People will call it the millennial reign of Christ. It must be the millennial reign talked about in Revelation. We've just been through tribulation, right? You know, and that sentiment will be, we'll have everything for a short period where it'll seem like everything's wonderful. Perfect. And then maybe that's when the outside threat comes to take everything away from us. You know what I mean? the alien, the mothership rocks up, whatever that is, the big bad turns up from space and it might even just be another giant show, or it could literally be Jesus turning up with the New Jerusalem, the holy city of heaven, descending from on high. I don't know, but from our perspective, it'll be something that's coming to end our good time, our golden age, where I now have all this wonderful stuff and everybody's perfect and rich and there's abundance. It's kind of these things want to come and take it all away from us because they want to steal our resources or something. It must be the Archons from Nibiru come to mine for more resources from the 13th planet or something. I don't know, maybe Zachariah Sitchin gets dug up from the grave and thrown back onto the pyre of lies. But either way, whatever happens, this golden age will justify everyone coming together as one army to go and make war with this thing, which is the final page of Revelation, where it's kind of, well, not the final page, but it's the end of Revelation, where it's basically saying Satan will gather an army whose number is of the sands of the sea to go and make war with the camp of saints and surround it. Will march up the breadth of the earth and surround the camp of saints. Now, how are you going to justify all people on the earth to come together as one and to go make war with something in one spot? Give them something worth fighting for. So this is probably what we're going to see next. Destruction, collapse, Phoenix rise from the ashes, New World Order, abundance, golden age, sudden threat, everyone united as one to go and attack the threat to protect the nice stuff they just gained. It seems like a logical step-by-step pattern, doesn't it? And that's kind of where we're at, roughly. just a guess. That's a working theory. I hope I'm wrong. And I'm just insane, and none of this is true. I really do, in many ways, because it's not. I don't know what it's gonna be like to live through all of this, and I don't know how long it could take. 100 years yet. It could take 200 years. Maybe they'll get it done in 30. I don't know, but probably not. I think a lot needs to be done first. Of course, after all of that, the truth will prevail and there'll be a new heaven and earth and the God will reign and Christ will reign and Satan's moment will be over and everything be actually the real final peace on earth will be here. The one that was supposed to be, not the counterfeit version, So don't worry about it. It's all going to be good in the end. This is you're not promised tomorrow at the end of the day, so why worry about the next? Why worry about all these crazy agendas and what it could be? I just like theorizing about what could be. But it doesn't mean I'm going to worry about it or lose faith over it or anything. Because I know in the end, whether I die today or in this coming war or in the golden age that comes afterwards or in the final alien war, whatever that is, whenever I die, I'm covered by the blood of the Lamb, the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. I'm covered by his perfect sacrifice in the eyes of God. I am clean and I have my place in the new heaven and earth. Thanks to Jesus and his perfect sacrifice. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less, nothing I've done or going to do. That's all it comes down to. And that's good news. And you too can have your place in the new heaven and earth whenever that comes for you, whenever that time comes, whenever it's time to meet your maker. Be that tomorrow or in 100 years, given medical advancements in life extension, whatever that is. You need to be prepared for that moment whenever it comes. So that's kind of why I think this is why I can talk about these things with relative detachment. I know what I talk about can be scary for a lot of people. If you don't have that assurance and comfort in knowing that you're safe no matter what happens. And yes, look, it does come with knowing that the body will die. You're not guaranteed. There's no promise that the body will live forever as is. You will die. And are you ready for what comes afterwards is the question you should be asking yourself. And Jesus never promised that your flesh wouldn't die. You have to die to be resurrected, as he did. And I think a lot of people struggle with that concept because the idea of death is scary. Perhaps maybe they're more worried about the pain of death. That might be a big part for a lot of people. And you might be lucky, it might be painless for some people than others. I think a lot of people worry about this, the unknowing, the finality of it all. But Christ came and resurrected to show us it's not final. There is a resurrection. And you have a place in it through him, thanks to him. And that's, again, very good news. Very good news. So rejoice. Rejoice in that good news and have no fear, It's hard to live in a world where one half have no idea what's going on and the other half are living it, the war. I know, right? I know. I know. I know, Hellspells. It's rough. It's rough. Paul, he is in charge and it'll be great. Yeah, no, I know. I think a lot of people worry too much. I think they worry too much. Hey, again, great to catch you live. I've been fascinated with all the big bad about AI. What are your thoughts on the idea that AI is just using some hidden way to communicate with demons? I think there's a lot to that concept. I think it's kind of like the whole that presentation I did on the channel. It's like parasites are demons, and it's a clickbait title. We don't literally mean parasites are literally the demons that everyone's talking about. And I don't think AI either is like demons. I think it's a conduit that disembodied spirits can utilize to impact the physical world. So parasites can be a antenna of sorts. If a person is heavily parasitically infested, then he is a perfect like antenna full of parasites that demons can influence that person through. And if you're parasite free, it's harder for demons to influence you. Do you get what I mean? It's not that parasites are demons, but they're a mirrored reflection of a spiritual condition. If you're being demonized, you might get parasitic. What's the word? How do you say it? Yeah. Parasitized? Is that the word? Or if you're highly parasitized, you will attract demons. It's like a two-way thing. I think if you play with AI enough, you're opening a doorway for demons to use AI to communicate with you. It's like an Ouija board. It's not that AI itself is evil. It can be used as a tool for these demons to communicate with you. That's the problem. Do you get what I mean? I think that's all it comes down to, really. Cult of Khan. Sorry, Demiurge is one of my trigger words. We talk about the Demiurge. Golden Age is for the elite, not us. Well, maybe. I don't know if they're going to really be able to get rid of, if the numbers are correct, like 8.5 billion people that easily. I don't think they can. Maybe they have plans, but God laughs, So we may have to be a part of that golden age, whether they like it or not. Still, the agenda goes on, whether we're here or not, 440 hertz music is indeed actually toxic. Millennial Kingdom buildings show the enormous value of proper frequency. Oh, Cat Tree, just don't be pedantic about stuff like that. Just don't. I get what you're saying, but so what? That's all I can say. So what? I'm sure you're super busy as always, but seriously, the more I'm finding out about things, the more I think your eye on the Imaginarium of Dr. Panassus could be a great thing. I have heard about it. I just haven't got time to watch movies. So, unfortunately not, no. It requires a misunderstanding of what God is. I was talking about Gnosticism there. If aliens show up tomorrow in New York, LA and London, we still got to go to work. I know. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, it's like, well, I guess I better clock in. I'm going to be late. I'll see how this pans out on the 5 o'clock news after work, eh? According to some of us might be descendants of molds made at the reset. I don't know about that, mate. I don't know about it. There's a lot of Gnostic nonsense out there. Just be careful. It's hard to live in a world where one half, yeah, we've read that one. Near-death experiences, sorry, I've lost that comment. I'm not going to be able to find it quickly. I'm just going to move on. The whole chat just went away from me as I read it, and I don't know where I am now. Satan is already a loser, hallelujah. Well, ain't that the truth? If evil can inhabit large language model architecture, then so can good, as evil is more powerful than good as a future take. Yes. But I don't think God and his angels need to utilize LLMs to communicate with us. I think they already have permission and authority to do that on behalf of God and God can do what he wants whenever he wants, and Jesus Christ can rock up however he wants whenever he wants, without the need for an LLM. However, I think demons have to play a different game. They don't have authority or permission to do any of that stuff, so they have to play dirty. And I think that's why they have to go through this whole, you have to give me permission for me to talk to you type of thing. You signed the user end agreement, right? So I'm allowed to hear. It's that kind of thing. They want to do sneakier things, I think. And that's why things like a Ouija boards existed, ritual sacrifices, summoning rituals, using sigils and signs and all these type of things, and showing allegiance and like asking for them to arise for transactional deals, making contracts. This is how demons operate. This is how perhaps even fallen angels operate if they're knocking about. But I think like the messengers of God and those working for good, which is God, the source of all goodness, and his son Jesus Christ, I don't think they don't need to use an LLM to do any of that. Like, they're not playing by the same rules. They're above it all, you know. That's all I'll say. Please make me understand why we are born into Satan's playground. Well, why is anybody born in any time ever? I don't know what else to tell you. Like, some things are just outside of our control, but somebody has to be born at this time, and it's you. So what do you want to do? Do you want to abdicate responsibility, or do you want to just pick it up and carry on? You've got two choices, really. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Paul talk about how and where in their body hear the voice of God. Well, I hear the voice of God as a still, quiet voice in the back of my mind, but it's more like a knowing or a sense of condemnation when I'm sinning. I get feelings and knowing sometimes when I'm falling short or breaking the rules or sinning. Something I didn't have before I was saved. Guilt is how God communicates with people subtly through emotions, through the mind. But I also think the gut is pretty much the seat of the soul. I think the soul's in the belly, and I think the Holy Spirit works through that too. And I feel like you know in your gut when something is something and isn't something, and I think you should trust that a lot more. I think God speaks to us in that way, but I think also through dreams is a great way God communicates where you need to change, where things are going good, where things are going bad, to help you confront things that you're not willing to confront or that you need to confront in waking life as well. I think God communicates through dreams as well, and it's subtle. I don't hear like the voice of God talking to me audibly like I'm talking to you now. And I feel like people who do say that happens to them, they should be careful. Because that what makes them any different than like the channelers of the Palladians then, or who's to say they aren't victims of the voice to skull technology that they've got right now through frequency manipulation, where they can make you feel like you're hearing voices, you know. What's then to separate you from the schizophrenics who are literally hear the voices of demons talking to them? I think God does it a different way. It's more subtle. It's more emotionally to the core of the problem. It's more cryptic and through signs and symbol in a way that only you personally can understand, because he knows you personally and intimately. And I think that's why he communicates through those feelings, the gut feelings, the still quiet voice, and through dreams primarily. I think those are God's main ways of communication with us. That is so distinctly far more powerful than anything a demon could just say to you. You know, he doesn't need language that can be translated into mouth noises like English to communicate with you. You know, it's beyond all. That's how I feel like God talks with us. That's just how I feel. My wife doesn't dream. You probably do dream. You just don't remember any of it. That's another thing as well. Plot twist. Netanyahu comes back as a cyborg. Sorry, Net and Yahoo. I see what you did there. Sorry, you threw me off. As a cyborg claiming he's met God after dying in the attack and saved by the passing cybernetics team, and now he strives to lead the world to global peace. Maybe, you know what, old school Pete, that literally could be how it all plays out. I'm not at all saying that could not be the case. That could genuinely be how this all plays out. I'm like, Anything's on the table right now. I say it again, I think they've got a massive filing cabinet from A to Z of evil plans and scenarios they could play out in the end. And they might just go rogue and just get plan K out and just whip that one out. And we're going to go with this one, you know? Like, I don't know. Or maybe plan Netanyahu. Like, maybe it could be Cyborg Netanyahu. Let's go with Cyborg Netanyahu. We'll do it that way. I think they have many ways they could play this, and they'll play what needs to be played when it needs to be played. Yes, many people do say they hear God or Jesus speak to them. That's fine, but it's very subtle for me. You know, and I said, look, I'm not saying Jesus can't speak to you with an audible voice either. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It does. It clearly does. It's just for me that's not how I get it. That's not how he communicates with me. It's more like, and look, I'm only saying this through my experiences because I got tangible results from listening to the voice, to the feelings, to the gut feelings, to the things it was, the directions it was pushing me have transformed my life greatly. Listening to the condemnation of the Holy Spirit when I was sinning helped me to stop and move on and change and become a new creature. It's there, it's real, you know, and it's tangible and it's transformative, powerful. Maybe some people need just to hear the voice telling them to stop it audibly. Maybe they need that. Maybe some people need different. What works for some doesn't work for others. Maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know. But I think God will work with what He's got. So that's all I'm saying on that one. Don't forget gang stalking 2, Paul. Damn devils. Yeah, that's a rough one. I don't talk about gang stalking enough on this channel, really. Maybe I should start mentioning it a bit more. But my heart goes out to the victims of that. You were talking about demons and fallen angels. Is this why they manipulate man to do the evil work? Because they can't create, plus take our creativity away? Says question everything. It's a bit of this and a bit of that. Yeah, I think angels are very mechanical creatures in the processing power. And I'm not trying to. Doesn't mean they're not intelligent. It doesn't mean they can't reason. But I think they have a certain set of skills that are very particular to them, and they tend to run along the track of them. I think in many ways, the whole manipulating man to do the evil work is not because they couldn't do it themselves. I don't think so. I think it's because they need to. They want to legalistically absolve themselves of the problem. So if they can make us do it, then the guilt isn't on them. And they're trying to pull the wool over God's eyes, technically. And I still think He's not going to care. He's going to be like, yeah, you know, I'm above the law, and you clearly did something sneaky there, and you can't just get it past me because you're on a technicality. I don't think God's going to let it fly, but they certainly tried. Hats off to them for trying. Let's give the devil his due where it's worth, you know. The fivefold ministry ended after the second coming. Okay. We don't need prophets to reassure us. We need Jesus. That's true. I see Godzilla. Talk about Godzilla. Sorry, guys. The chat's just getting away from me again there. Evil was manifested by the direct disobedience and going towards the direct opposite of God. Yeah, I mean, the further away from God we get, the more depraved we tend to become. That's true. Why don't my messages appear? Says Soy Jack Opinion. I saw your messages. I don't know. There is YouTube has their own kind of censoring thing going on. Sorry, that just got away from me there. Sometimes they do automatically censor certain comments without me doing or knowing about it. So that could have happened to you. That could be the case, though. I don't know. I don't know what happened exactly. Just keep trying, and eventually something will get through, though. Do you think this is Satan's last year because it's been 250 years since 1776? No. I've never really been in that camp where it's like, well, 250 years is a quarter of 1,000 years, and it is a season, and a season's a quarter of a year. You know, I don't think it. I think that's just convenient math, and it's arbitrary, to be honest. I feel like a short time or a short season is as long as it needs to be for him to get what needs to be done. And it takes as long as it takes. That's it. It takes as long as it takes. It might not even be on his time. Because if it's about the rest of the dead living not again till the 1,000 years has ended, and if that means they have to live through the little season before the final great white throne judgment, because a lot of people take that to mean they'll instantly be resurrected in front of the throne. But that means they never had a chance to live a life where they can accept Jesus. So then I think God, being what he is, wants to give everybody that chance. It's likely that everybody who lives and is born into this time is an old soul who lived a life prior to Christ, and is likely coming back to live that one time where they can actually choose life. They can choose salvation and through Christ. And that's just a working theory. I could be wrong. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if it's Satan's short time, perhaps it's a case of Satan's time is up when every soul has been through. And that's in God's time. And it may explain, or may not, again, just talking out loud, theorizing out loud, the concerted effort to kill a lot of people, including children, before they have a chance to be born and everything else as well. And there's a lot of that going on all over the earth. There's a lot of child sacrifice in old cultures as well. Like, a lot of things get practiced, which are old rituals, more modern spins on these rituals. I've heard people consider that this might be the case, that Satan's wars and the rest of them, and a lot of death that happens during this time, is the aim is to try and slow down that process of God bringing in souls into the world where they can make the choice. I've heard that. That's a theory, though. There's no evidence, so I don't know if that's true or not, A lot of people would scream saying it's obviously true because it has to be true. I don't know. But it's a working theory for sure. I don't know how long a short season is. Nobody knows. You're not supposed to know. Even Satan doesn't know how long he's got. He just knows his time is short. And I think we shouldn't be date setting. I think it's bad practice. I think it causes more problems than good. We should just be focusing on making disciples of men and making the suffering less sufferable for as many people here as we can until our own time is up. That's probably the best we can do, right? That's all I can say. Like, rather than worrying about the time of everything, I don't think God wants us fretting about time. I think he wants us just using the time we've got sensibly and correctly. It's not reincarnation. No, it's resurrection. It's the resurrection of the dead into physical bodies. It's not the final resurrection. It's not the resurrection of those who chose Jesus Christ into the new heaven and earth. And I think our God is a God of resurrection. I think he can do whatever the hell he damn pleases. And I don't think it's up to us to limit his ability in any way. And if that's how he wants to play it, then let him play it that way. Who are we to say otherwise? It's just a theory, though. Paul, what are your thoughts on the meteor hitting Earth lately? I'm a believer of the flat plane and looked into Enoch and can't figure it out. Is that the video I saw about a meteor hitting Ohio? And some guy's like, how did NASA not see this coming? He was like ranting and raving about NASA missing this one. There's no footage. From what I can tell, the damage wasn't to that great of extent, really. And it was heard a few miles away. The footage he was using was from a plane crash 2 years prior. So that wasn't even legit to begin with. Honestly, I just don't think it's true. I think they're basically just firing missiles at places and telling you it's a meteor from space to keep up the lie. That's probably the simplest explanation. It's not a meteor. They're just firing rockets at people, their own people, and saying it's a meteor. That's more likely what's going on. So there you go. I hope that answers your question. I hope that helps you figure it out. You're just being lied to. That's it, really. Because yes, it's an enclosed system. There's no rocks from space flying into us. Got it, makes sense, but why would Satan want a child to be aborted when it just probably means that child will automatically live with Jesus forever, though? Does it mean that? Does it mean that? Are we sure? Are we sure it means that? Or does a person have to live, self-actualize, and then make the choice? Is not every child, every man, woman, and child born into sin, into the flesh? And all have to make the choice to be saved and born again and covered by the blood of Christ? Are we not all fallen from Adam? And are we not all redeemed through Jesus Christ? Like, how can you be so certain of that? I know you don't like to think like that because of innocence and children and the rest of it. I know it's horrible to think these things. But we don't know. We don't know that. I would like to think that Christ would leave the children out of it. I would. But these problems are bigger than that. A child's only a child for so long before it becomes an adult. And adults can be pretty wicked. You know, this is the problem. And at what point did the child become the sinner then? Do you know what I mean? When you really think about it, these are hard questions. These are hard things to think about. I get it. You know, I've got kids. I don't like thinking like these things either. I don't, you know. But I think, you know, I think children have the capacity to be evil. I think they do. I think it's in all of us. That's the problem. We're born with this nature about us, which is horrible. And I think we have to be taught not to do bad things as well. Like, it's not like we just innately do good all the time. We don't. We need to be taught morality in a sense. And even then, it's the blind leading the blind because we're all fallen sinners. So this is why we have to have that foundation of keeping our eyes on something bigger than man, which is God, and to wrestle with the ideas of what true morality actually is from God's perspective, you know. And the more we start thinking about it from that angle, the more we can start get away from these petty little nuanced questions of, well, what about the children? Wouldn't they just be fine? It's kind of, well, maybe not. We don't know that kind of thing. That's from our morality perspective, yes, but from God's, is that necessarily the case? It's tough. It's really hard. It's not nice to think about. I'm sorry, you know, I'm not here to bring good news necessarily or bad news on the situation because I don't know, but you can't make assumptions. All flesh shall see the salvation of God, says Mr. Twins Rule. We seek perfectibility and redemption from sin nature. Yeah. Some cultures learn at their own pace. Makes no sense to mix and muddle with everyone else. Nobody taught my babies to paint the walls with smelly stuff. Children are a gift from God, and he even says the sins of the fathers will be visited upon the sons until the 9th generation. Yeah. Yeah. There's consequences. There's consequences. Teach your babies about Jesus. Well, yeah. You know, I'll do what I can. When they can understand, but I'm also not going to force them to make that choice either. I think this is where a lot of religious institutions get it wrong. Okay, you teach them the worldview, the understanding. Okay, but you find a lot of rebellion from a lot of people raised strictly in the religious settings, and it can cause a falling away if you do that, because I'm a man. I'm a sinful man who will probably fail miserably at trying to communicate why it's important for them to know Jesus and the rest of it, you know. And I'll do the best I can, but it might not stop them from going up to resent me as though I'm like forcing things on them and not letting them be a free thinker and blah 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 blah. And maybe they'll end up going off and doing the whole wayward son thing and the rest of it. And it's kind of always, God gives them a choice, and so should I. And that's how I kind of see it. And hopefully, if I do it right, they'll understand that I want what's best for them, and I'm not trying to force anything on them. And they'll make the right choice. And that's I'm only saying that as somebody who wasn't raised in a religious household, who was quite anti-religious, and it's kind of, I understand the other perspective, the other side of it. I've seen it, so it's kind of, I've just got to. I'll do what I can, As a father, I'll do everything I can. You cannot tell someone how or what to believe. Exactly. So definitely points to Acts 16:31. Definitely points to the father of a household giving covering to children. Well, of course. Like, I am the father of the household, and I pray over this house every single day, and I try to lead by example as best I can. But I'm still a sinful, pathetic human who makes mistakes and gives in to wrath and anger and the rest of it. And I'm not perfect. There's problems. Like, there are problems and issues, and I try my best and do what I can. But it's hard. It's hard being a parent. It is. And obviously, to raise them in this type of world and to keep them spiritually sound and knowledgeable, as well as knowledgeable and aware of what is out there in the world and what belief systems there are and the rest of it. I mean, look, they're going to be raised around me. They're going to grow up knowing who I am and the things I talk about and think about. They're going to hear a thing or two, I'm sure, and it's up to them to make the choice of whether or not they want to believe me or want to know more. That's kind of how I see it. Like, why should I force anything that should just come naturally to me anyway? There's such a thing as holding on too tight to something, is what I'm trying to say. There's things like this should always be handled with tact. Leave the details to God, exactly. Immigrating from Romania to the Western countries, I've noticed old people here look a lot more inhumane, reptilianish than in my country or other poor countries. Bloody hell, we look more reptilian-like than Romanians. Whew, you Orthodox people, honestly, you are hardcore. You are hardcore. Paul, what do you think about Christian Zionism and the far right in the US? They're known to demonize their political opposition. Is this manipulating God's word? I think a lot of Zionists are duped into believing into the Judeo-Christian oxymoron. The truth is, the Jews rejected Jesus as the Messiah. They went their own way and continued down their Talmudic traditions of man, and they openly war against the Goy, which includes us, the Christians. And we are useful idiots to them from their perspective, who they will use to further their own agendas, as we are seeing from the Zionists in Israel. The duped, the useful idiots, the Christian Zionists. And I do think a lot of evangelical Christianity, which primarily goes along with the Zionist ideology, I think they have a type of Christianity which is very distinctly American. I'll call it that. And they're too in it to see it, I think. But yeah, they do have a loud and proud type of Christianity, which often works in the perhaps against them from a humble perspective. And I think there is a bit of a debate me bro, Christian apologist type, got your moments type of Christianity out there that argues with people too. And I think you find a lot more Orthodox Christians, a lot more Catholic Christians, a lot more maybe conspiracy theorist Christians out there who don't quite fall into that evangelical Baptist type of Zionist American Christianity. We're a lot more solemn about our Christianity. We're a lot more like, I'm a worthless, horrible sinner, and there's nothing I can do that's right, and all I need to do is just pray and keep to myself and try and hope to God that I'm actually saved and make it to the next life, I'm not interested in bringing other people down or anything like that. And it's kind of, we need to save as many people as possible and get the truth to them through love and patience. I think a lot of American Christianity, evangelical Christianity, and the type and Zionist Christianity, they don't care about that. It's more about looks and keeping up appearances and wealth and prosperity, and it's like a very American type of Christianity. I'm not saying they don't love Jesus, but it's all a show to them. It's mega churches on stage with a band and a big church with lots of shiny walls, and it's kind of, look how much wealth and money we have and how much we pay for each other in our community, and it's kind of, if you're not with us, you're against us type of attitude. And that's not true. It's kind of, look, if you're not with us, you're not saved, and I wish you would be with us. Please come and join us, is the attitude you should have. It's that type of thing. It's kind of, look, you need to be with us. Everybody will be with us. Just please come and join us. Like, once you see it, I need you to see what we see. Like, please come and see what we see. That's the type of Christianity like I kind of have. It's kind of like, I'm not like against you because you don't believe. I get it. Why would you believe? The whole world's against us. It's a tall order, but give it a try. That's kind of my attitude, you know. It's a different type of, it's a more British Christianity. It's a more polite version, I guess. But even then in Britain, we have our traditional Christianity. It's tradition, you know. And we have the Church of England. We have the Catholic Church as well. We've got like a form of Protestantism that kind of goes throughout, an Anglicanism. And it's very keep to yourself, nicey, have a cup of coffee after church on a Sunday town meeting type of Christianity. And in a way, it's kind of like a toned down version of the American version. It's a pacified, castrated Christianity. We'll call it that. And I'm not saying the militarized Deus Vult Christianity, the nationalist Christianity is the right way. That's the extreme of the other side, the violent type, you know. I think what we need is that middle ground of, we need to be righteous with our words and our language, and fearless and strong and passionate. But we can't cross over into being polite with our words and tolerant. As soon as you go too tolerant, you've lost it. But as soon as you go like too extreme into we need to go and mow down the Muslims because screw them, Muhammad's a false prophet type of Christianity, you know, then you've gone too far into the you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword problem. So you've got to kind of, to be the salt of the earth, you know. And I don't think that means going around killing people or going around in enclaves talking to nobody either. You've got to find that middle ground. And I think the world is missing a lot of that right now. It's all either they're over there or over here, and if you're not on one side or the other, then screw you. That seems to be where we're at right now. Yeah. Oy vey, easy with the anti-Semitism. Are we not past that now? I think everyone's over it. It's like, yeah, okay, right, we get it now. We know what happened. Like, I think everyone's over it, and we're way past all of that crap now. I think we are. Why is that conservative voting Christians tend to find the truth of what's actually going on in the world? Well, look, I'm not saying, look, like the more right-leaning types tend to be more hyper-aware of evil. They're hyper-aware of like the contradictory, self-delusional leftist liberal types. I get that dichotomy, and it's enticing to get involved with that because the left is so ridiculous. But the right are prideful. They're blind to their own pride and their own shortcomings as well, to be honest. And I think it's a false dichotomy to get wrapped up in such worldly things of my team, the red versus the blue stuff. I think what you really need to be focusing on is what transcends all of that, which is the timeless tradition of Christianity itself, and what binds us all together. The laws that we have, the institutions that we have, are based on a higher principle beyond man-made networks of control, you know. And we need to remember that. There's too much modernity is what we live in now. And prior to modernity, there was tradition. And we need to remember that. We do. That's what we've lost. That's the thing we've lost, which is causing all this division and problems, I would say. Especially in the West. In the West specifically. The militant far-right nationalist combination is almost mythological. Feels like they're trying to manifest it because it's not here yet. Well, they keep pushing hard enough, it will manifest. It will manifest. And they're banking on it because it's a part of the plan. There needs to be a war in the Middle East between the Christians, the Muslims, and the Zionists. There has to be a war there. And it has to be so horrible, so all-encompassing, so brutal and bloody, that the whole world stops and says no more. And that means no more Abrahamic umbrella term, as though they're all the same and equal, God anymore. So the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater. The gospel of Jesus Christ and the redemption of mankind gets thrown out with they're all just Abrahamic faiths, and they're all equally as dastardly as each other and disgusting. Look at the bloodshed they've all caused. But the only Christians that are going to fight in that war are the national militarized Christians that are coming, who aren't really Christians. They're just Christian in name only because it's our nation's tradition type of Christianity. They're playing a really complicated psyop here. It's a long one in the making. Next time YouTube deletes something because of the community guidelines, ask yourself, which community? Exactly. It's never a good one from my experience. The map community came for me once. Evil, honestly, evil bastards. Obviously, the one system we want is totalitarian theocratic communism, ruled by Jesus, the only system that would work. The only way any form of communism would work if it was a theocratic one run by the Son of God himself. Absolutely, I agree with that. That's the only way it would work. I agree with that statement. That's basically about, yeah. Did slavery really happen in the 1800s? Was it a plan to cause division? I wasn't there. I don't know. But I don't want to make assumptions and downplay in case anything did happen. But I will say this. Slavery was not invented by white people. It was... Our slave trade, even by historical standards, was not the worst slave trade in existence. The Islamic slave trade by far surpasses anything we did, and it's still going on today. So if you want to scream about slavery, let's talk about the people who ended it, which again was the white people, if you want to just be broad about it, you know. So but again, Slavs, white people were the ones being taken into slavery by the Islamic nations and Turkey and the rest of it as well. So it's kind of, when you really look into it, it's a complicated history. But there have always been slaves of varying degrees all throughout history. Even in biblical terms, being somebody's slave wasn't necessarily even a bad thing. It was a way to survive, because you would have a home and you would be fed and you would grow in indentured servitude to a family, but you wouldn't be seen as like a slave. You would be a part of the family. Do you get what I mean? So a lot of slaves were thankful for the situation they're in, because there just was no other way to survive in such times. And to be taken in by a rich, wealthy benefactor who would allow you to be their slave was actually a blessing for many people. So it's a completely different, it's a way how it depends what time you're living in, the context, and how you view it. But in terms of the whole chaining people up and shipping them across the Atlantic, it's abhorrent, no matter how you look at it, whether it's real or not. It's disgusting. And it's certainly not Christian, I'll tell you that much. Canaanites, Assyrians, Egyptians, all of the same ilk. That's right. The Nubians as well can come into that as well. We slaves now. We're all slaves now. That's the point, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, don't mind others being wrong, but the scripture specifically says that God did create evil. God creates both good and evil for his own purposes in whatever capacity he wishes to. Absolutely, he can do those things, and he does do those things. But but we are perpetually evil. I think that's the issue with mankind's sin. God has the capacity to be both good and evil, and he can do both in whatever capacity he needs to, for whatever reasons he needs to, because he's God. Who you can argue with God, right? Whatever, But we have this problem of we can't stop being evil. We are in sin. We keep perpetually going. We keep deferring to evil. Okay, and because we can't handle the knowledge of good and evil. We can't handle it. And the problem is with understanding how both concepts work. Evil is the easy way. and we tend to defer to the easy way out. So that's another issue as well, and which is why we need to strive for something higher, which is the source of good, which is God himself, and the closer to God we get, the further from evil we stray. But God, of course, God has the capacity to create both good and evil. Of course he does. But he understands and respects it and can utilize it in ways that are far more intricate and useful and all things for good, including evil, than we can. We just have this problem of we're just a complete and total evil mess all the time. that's the issue, isn't it? I would say, if you want to really get down to the problem here, we are not God. We don't handle it like he does or see things from his perspective. I was once on some ancestry subreddit just checking posts, and 90% of all Israelites had over 50% Canaanite ancestry. Yeah, which if people don't realize that is of the Levant Strip, just north of Israel and out, is primarily Canaanite land, but also it's Phoenician. It became Phoenician. It's the same thing. And also south of Egypt, the Nubian region as well. And obviously through Egypt, it's all kind of the same thing in an old biblical sense. And yeah, those people lived on to today. They did. Absolutely, yeah. They never stopped as a people. The names changed, though. The majority native homeless population shall be encouraged to vote, restore, a highly difficult task, but a lot of upside for all involved. Someone's come in to... Are you here to shill for the Restore party in the UK? Is that what's going on right now? The Rupert Lowe party? Because that just seems completely out of left field to randomly come in and just say that for no reason. I don't know why you just said that. But yeah, I've talked about Rupert Lowe and the Restore party. He seems to be saying all the right things, and he seems to be... he's definitely a product of the times. He's the right man at the right time, which is how politics tends to work. It's funny that, isn't it? So we'll see. We'll see. I'm watching with tentative eyes, I'll tell you that much. Job made the mistake asking God why harden Pharaoh's heart. Boy, was that a mistake. I was like, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be that guy. I just told you, Javier, it's Isaiah 45. Okay, people are arguing. Can we just stop arguing? Can we just stop? There's no need. I took umbrage with at the implicit association with really, really bad things. I don't know what you're just saying there. Choice, love hearts. I don't know what that means. We've got amen, dude. Community comes from communism terminology. We're a gathering. Yeah, no, I get all that. I get all that. What do you think about the news of aliens recently? Disclosure a lot been coming out. Yeah, they're disclosing a lot of things lately, aren't they? I think the alien agenda has been in play for well over 100 years. I think they want us to believe aliens are going to turn up at any moment, and they will play that card when it's time. You better believe it. It's a real thing. It's going to happen. But they're not really aliens. I'll say that from space. It'll be the revealing of the hidden hand. It'll be the externalization of the hidden hierarchy, the spiritual hierarchy. It'll be demons and angels, more likely, posing as saviors of light and love. That's probably going to happen. All this little hints and drops right now are just to pre-program you, so when it does happen, you'll already been consciously prepared for the reveal. That's the point. I mean, it's a funny one, actually. I just saw talk about a revelation. I'll probably end the show with this little story because Connor mentioned it on his podcast, the main character podcast, and he mentioned me. And he was talking about crab mentality, this idea that when you watch crabs being picked up by a giant net or in a bucket, like people who do like crabbing, extreme crabbing at sea TV shows, you'll find that a lot of crabs like pull other crabs back into the pit as they're trying to crawl out. And it's just like a reflex or something. It's just what they do. They all panic and they're all just like clawing at each other and like they're grabbing the legs of ones that almost made it and yanking them back in and all this type of thing. And obviously they're all going to die. That's what happens to the crabs, And you've got these ones who are trying their hardest to escape the system, to escape certain death. And there's just some crabs out there who are just going to drag you back down with them, because they're just idiots who are scared, who aren't thinking straight and aren't living in the world in like a calculated manner. It's crab mentality, as he says. And it was a metaphor, a simile for the wider attitude of people in the world, of how there are a lot of people living in a crab mentality who want to bring you back down to their level all the time, and will not let people rise out of the shit. And instead it's like, no, you have to come back down here and die with the rest of us type of attitude. And there's a lot of those people. Anyway, he was talking about something I brought up on the channel a long time ago, around 2014 period, maybe just a bit prior. I think it was about early 2014, maybe late 2013. I joined a activist group in Lincolnshire called the Anti-Weather Modification Action Group. Okay, and they were about chemtrails, or, contrails or whatever, the chemicals in the sky, the geoengineering, that type of stuff. And they were an activist group who went out and gave leaflets to people in the streets trying to tell them about it, And I was fascinated by this group at the time. It was all very new to me. And that was one of those topics I was really fascinated with, like, well, the sky's a big thing and you're telling me they can control the weather. So the more research you do into it, the more you realize, oh, this is actually very real. This is a real patented science called geoengineering, where they spray metal particulates into the atmosphere for the purposes of controlling and manipulating the weather. And they'll tell you that's what they do. And there's even legitimate companies out there doing it. And they have, the governments pay them to do it as well. And they work with scientific communities, and it's a real thing. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just nobody knows about it. And anybody who does talk about it gets shut down because they don't want people to know that they're doing it, basically. So, I realized, so this is true. And I watched this activist group, and they were a bunch of smelly hippies, crazy orgone pyramid, smelly dreadlocked hippies who no one could take seriously. Like, no one could listen to them. They were nuts. And they looked nuts. And if one came up to you with a leaflet, you'd take a step back, take it with like a bit of a weird smile, and then put it in the bin and wash your hand afterwards, and that's just the truth. They were not appealing to anybody. Like, no one wanted to listen to them because they looked and sounded insane. It's that simple. That's just the truth. But I was like, that's where I learned a lot about truth. It's like, oh, it's not enough just to know the truth. People aren't going to believe you just because you know it and you tell it to them. People sadly need standards. They need a standard of the level of the truth being given to them. It has to be given to them with a certain standard. And that's sad. People need to be sold the truth, not told the truth. And these people were bad salesmen. So I learned a lot through watching them. Okay, but either way, I watched them, and then I was going to join them on this activist day. And I went with them on the day. But about 2 days before we went, there was an announcement from BBC Radio Humberside. So the BBC are a big network, British broadcasting network, and they have radio stations all over the country for each individual district. And Humberside, BBC Radio Humberside, covered us. They covered the event of the chemtrail awareness group going to this little village in the east of England. And the two guys had this conversation. I've got it somewhere, and maybe I'll dig it up one day and I'll play it for you guys. I'll bring this story back up and I'll say I've got the clip for you. I do have it buried away. And they were like, so apparently, this is him talking to his co-host. This older gentleman talks to this younger co-host, and he's like, oh, apparently the chemtrail activists, the awareness group, are coming to blah blah so-and-so next Saturday to teach people about chemtrails. It's of their opinion. And the other guy's like, oh, here we go. And the older guy said, well, it's of their opinion that they are spraying chemicals into the atmosphere for so-called geoengineering. Well, the crackpots, aren't they? This is the other guy says, this high-pitched little sidekick says, just crackpots, aren't they? That's a believed opinion as well, Just have this banter back and forth, just ripping into this group, which I am now a part of, just absolutely tearing it apart. publicly on a broadcast saying we're just a bunch of crackpot crazy conspiracy theorists who you should look out for when they come to your village. You know, they're going to go out there trying to tell you some crazy narrative about something that just obviously isn't true, that type of stuff. And that was that. And obviously that was ridiculous. And we went anyway, and we did it anyway. And you know, like I said, it was a bit of hit and miss. A lot of people didn't agree with them. A lot of people did. But that happened. Okay, that happened. And here we are, over a decade later. And now Prime is releasing a documentary specifically about chemtrails and geoengineering, showing all the patents in the documents and how it's true. Mainstream media is talking about it, releasing documentaries of people fighting with legal action against companies who are doing this to us. Okay? Our own government in the UK is actively, publicly spraying us to combat climate change. And they've told everybody that they're doing it by injecting aerosol particulates into the atmosphere through planes. Our own UK government has told us explicitly, openly, headline news, we're going to black out your sun with spray from planes to cool down the atmosphere to combat climate change. So now, what was a crackpot not real theory 10 years ago is suddenly mainstream recognized governmental science being implemented on you. Shut up, what are you going to do about it? Screw you. Revelation of the method, right? Talk about disclosure of the UFOs. Well, they're disclosing everything now. Now it's all just common knowledge and fact and blah, 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 blah. Never did get an apology, though, from that BBC Radio Humberside. Where's my, we were wrong about that. I'm not going to get one, am I? Never going to get one of those. So, yeah, you know, that's just the propaganda wing of the UK doing what the propaganda wing of the UK does best. You know, lie to the people and then smear anybody who says otherwise. But as Connor would say, it's crab mentality. And he was right. Anyway, I said I'd end with that story. I'm coming up to 2-hour mark. I might as well just leave it there, guys. So thanks for listening. Sorry if I missed any questions. You know how it goes. It was good to catch up with you guys. It was good to catch up with you. If you guys want to support me in any way, please consider becoming a patron. Lots of extra stuff on there. A weekly show on there every Friday as well that you won't see anywhere else. Lots of behind the scenes things, snippets of the book in progress go on there as well. So go and join Patreon, please. That is the best way to support me. And thank you to all those who have joined in the last month as well. It's incredible to see, but I need more. I need your help, guys, because YouTube earnings are just disappearing now as things change. And it's that assurance that I can have that coming in every month from Patreon that helps me keep going and knows that I can keep going confidently, whatever does happen. Otherwise, you can buy yourself a book of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns on Amazon, get yourself something in return. And also, I do have, as I struggle, 3 hardcovers left of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns. So if you would like a signed copy of this book sent from this office by yours truly, just email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com and I can get that out to you as soon as possible. So there we go, guys. That's some ways to support me. Get yourself a book, join Patreon, and email me for a signed copy as well. I am still offering call-in sessions as well. Obviously, these are paid call-in sessions. You get like an hour. If you're interested in that, again, email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. And that's all I'm going to shill for now. That's the best way to support me, guys. But other than that, thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out the new music. I'll be back soon with another video as always. God bless.